Yo, what's good everybody? Welcome back to the channel. How y'all doing? Hi, the kids. Can you stop waving? Thank you. I'm Q the Costa Rican, and today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Rate Series 2. And let's be honest, it's fast approaching, and today we're going to talk about the competitive viability of all the Paradox Pokemon so you can be ready to use them to their fullest potential when Series 2 3v3's begin. Let me know in the comments section down below what Pokemon you're most looking forward to see. And with that being said, let's get on with it. Alright, first, let's talk about the homie Great Tusk. This past form of Donphan was lost at time, but thank Arceus he's back. I foresee a lot of people running Great Tusk as a defensive option for the likes of Iron Hands or even Iron Treads. There's also Roaring Moon running around if it's not that Acrobatics Boost Energy set that we'll talk about in a minute. All these Pokemon you can easily tank 1 or 2 hits from and fire off some big, super effective damage. But disregarding the defensive option for a second, you can even run Booster Energy Rapid Spin for a little nice baby Dragon Dance, even though Booster Energy only boosts your attack by 1.3 versus Dragon Dance is 1.5. The thing that Booster Energy has over Dragon Dance is that its boost does not get ignored by the unaware mons like Dragon Dance does, like any other stat boost does. For whatever reason, Booster Energy is like some sort of innate ability, or it's some form of an innate stat buff. I don't know the science behind it. It just doesn't get ignored by unaware mons currently. I don't know if that's a bug. I don't think it's a bug. I think it's a natural thing that's supposed to happen. But regardless, on top of that, you can even run max speed and be a beautiful hazard control lead against the likes of Glamora or even Spike's Garchomp, because a lot of them aren't running speed. And if the timid Glamora is running max speed, you will outpace it by 1 as long as you're Jolly Max. So keep that in your little noggin. Keep that for consideration. And it's still even good for Garchomp because, once again, they don't typically run max speed, but also you get access to Ice Spinner. So if they don't terrestrialize, you will be knocking that guy out. So just keep that. As well as Ice Spinner is also really good because it can get rid of opposing terrain, and there will be a lot of electric terrain users running around. Likes of Rotom might be rocking it. Even just the future Pokemon could be rocking electric terrain on their own. Some brave souls might be running Pincurchin, and then you can get rid of the terrain and not allow any of their sweepers in, which would be really nice. But that's just kind of a little taste of what Great Tusk will be widely... That's kind of just a little taste of why I think Great Tusk will be widely used in ranked 3v3s. Up next, we have the homie Roaring Moon. This wannabe Salamence has an insane offensive presence with that base 139 attack and a whole lot of speed to boot. It gets access to Dragon Dance, which makes it a huge threat for any opposing team that's lacking a physical tank like Dondozo or Skeledirge. But once again, the beautiful thing about Paradox Pokemon is that Unaware does not ignore Boost Energy boosts. I don't know why that is. Once again, I don't know why. It just does. Booster Energy boosted Terra Flying Acrobatics is quite literally unguardable. That's not true, but it is a very reliable win con, especially against the aforementioned Great Tusk that people will likely be attempting to use against you if they don't want to use Skeledirge or Dondozo. Terra Fire can help a lot for being able to be immune to burn, as well as a really strong pick could be Terra Steel, so that you could potentially Dragon Dance in front of opposing fairies like Flutter Mane or what other fairies? Sylveon, I guess. I don't see why someone would run Sylveon as your Roaring Moon check, but regardless, you can still run it. I guess Terra Fire Sylveon. Nope, that doesn't make sense either. But I guess you can run Terra Steel to potentially set up in front of fairy types. It's kind of what the gist of what I'm trying to say. But also, something really crazy about Roaring Moon that I haven't seen a whole lot of people talk about, but shout out to the homie Lucas for winning a finals with this kind of Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon is the only Pokemon in the game that gets access to Scale Shot. If you guys don't know about Scale Shot, it was a Generation 8 move tutor move introduced in the DLC that is a multi-hit move and gives you a +1 speed boost at the cost of -1 defense. It's insanely strong. If if you could just boost your energy and then Scale Shot, boom, you already got your Dragon Dance. You don't even need to dance. And hello? Shout out to Elso Sheer for subbing. That's funny. While I'm recording this. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is don't be surprised if you see a bunch of loaded dice Roaring Moons running around, because now that's a base 100 Dragon move, but you can still miss. So who knows? You might just want to run Outrage or Dragon Claw, but regardless, the option's there. You heard it here first if you do see some loaded dice Roaring Moons running around. Up next, we're talking about one of the strongest special attackers to ever exist. I'm talking about Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane was almost immediately banned from Smogon OU if those stats mean anything to you, which they really don't because this is ranked 3v3s. But that's how good it is, basically. That's what I'm trying to get at. This Pokemon hits insanely hard, even against Pokemon that are supposed to resist it. Ghost and Fairy Stab is just insane. It hits pretty much everything in the game super hard, and anything short of Chansey or Blissey cannot be switching into the likes of Flutter Mane's attacks. Pair that with the ability to terrestrialize, I would not be surprised if every team you see in 3v3s has a Flutter Mane on it. If you're not rocking out with the Flutter Mane, you might be throwing. Definitely expect to see a lot more usage for Bullet Punch users like Scizor and even random Mons using Terra Steel just to be able to tank a Specs Moonblast. Even just to be able to think about tanking a Specs Moonblast from the likes of Terra Fairy, Specs, Flutter Mane. It's kind of insane. This Pokemon, like, they don't ban Pokemon in ranked, but if they ever did, Flutter Mane would be the first one up to be considered for banning. But after the top 3, we're kind of getting into the more niche selections of past Paradox Pokemon, such as Slither Wing. This Pokemon is bug fighting, okay? It's bug fighting. It's not fire. I repeat, it's not fire. I always, for some reason, I just think it just looks like a fire type to me. You know what I mean? It's baby Volcarona, so I just always assume it's a fire type. I don't know, but I'm trying to, train myself to to think that it's not a fire type. But also, it can be a fire type if it wants to be. If it wants to try and tank those fairy hits, like, from Flutter Mane, that would otherwise been super effective against it, you might want to have to Terra Fire. It's also really good burp at revenging certain threats, like Roaring Moon with its +2 priority move, First Impression, but just be warned, in case you don't know, I'll tell you right now, you can only use First Impression on the first turn that you're in. So, if, you bring it in to revenge the Roaring Moon, you click First Impression, do not click it on the second turn. You will not be able to. You need to switch out, then come back in, then you'll be able to click it again freely. But regardless, it is still really strong. First Impression, Choice Band First Impression, we already seen on low kicks do immense damage, so give that to Slither Wing, which I believe has a higher base attack. Don't quote me on that. Could also hit just extremely hard. It also has a lot of natural bulk in its Spadef stats, so it's a very strong Assault Vest user, being able to outlast some special attackers both before and after it Terras, but definitely not my first selection when picking Paradox Pokemon to use in 3v3s, but still a very strong viable option that's out there. If you just really like using Slither Wing, you know what I mean? Prove me wrong. What can I say? Up next, we have the Electric Ground type Sandy Shocks. Now, Electric Ground is a very unique type combination that allows Sandy Shocks to be able to threaten opposing water types that would otherwise have an easier time against, most ground types. Any of its Terra options are extremely helpful because while this mon does hit hard, its coverage is a little bit lacking, which I think is one of the only things holding this Magnemite variant back. It does also get Spikes and Stealth Rock, so if you want to go with a little like losers, Focus Sash, Hazard Lead, you have that option available, as well as being able to threaten most other hazard setters with your Terra Ice or Grass options. But another thing to note is that while it benefits for being in the sun as a pass form Paradox Mon, it also appreciates anyone setting electric terrain to boost its already stab boosted electric type moves. I can definitely see this Pokemon as being a sort of like stall breaker against the likes of the Garganical, Skelly-Dirge, Dondozo squad, so running Choice Specs, Thunderbolt against those guys, or even Choice Specs, Earth Power, pretty strong. But speaking of past forms that are kind of weird, we have a sus among us, I can't believe I said that, aka Brute Bonnet. It lost its poison typing but gained a dark typing, which actually gives it a strong offensive presence with a priority move such as Sucker Punch. It also kept Spore, which is an insanely busted move that puts your opponent to sleep for 1 to 3 turns, and it's even more broken in 3v3s due to there being no sleep clause. Could potentially be another good Assault Vest user, but then you do miss out on being able to use Spore, so, who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? Could easily see Terra Water being widely used so that you can tank some fire type attacks and get off a clutch Spore, getting in one of your other better sweeping options. So, a little bit of a support, role in, but also being able to hit hard. So like you're a good supporter, but you're kind of a hitter. You do be hitting. But last but not least, but definitely my least favorite, we have Screamtail. This Pokemon is very bulky, and if y'all know me, I don't really like using too many bulky Pokemon. Although there are some favorites that absolutely love using. Regardless, Screamtail can get up some screens, ironically, as well as Wish Pass, and it can even set up Trick Room for the aforementioned Brute Bonnet to be able to just click buttons. So if you're tired of using Prankster Grimmsnarl, and you want like like a faster screen setter that could also like Wish Pass or even Baton Pass, it's a bad option. It gets access to some funny moves like T-Wave and Encore, as well as the aforementioned Baton Pass with Omni Boost. It gets Bulk Up and Calm Mind, guys, and because this is 3v3s, it can Baton Pass into a waiting sweeper in the back. Imagine the shenanigans you can pull off with the likes of Double Dance, Screamtail, plus Wish Pass into Roaring Moon or Flutter Mane or literally anything else, because now they're never gonna die because you just have all the stat boosts in the world. I can definitely see this Pokemon being an absolute pain in the ass and to force a lot of other teams to run Taunt on Pokemon you'd otherwise prefer to run something else. So can still have some form of like competitive effect on the meta, even though it's not going to be there, because like you might have to just run a taunt user. Like I guess yeah, because like it's not really hitting you that hard. Even though I guess it could Omni Boost and a stored power as well, which I would most likely. What? I guess a lot of Haze users will also be running around, I suppose too. But regardless, that is going to be our past form discussion of Pokemon. If I missed anything, I probably missed a lot. Let me know in the comment section down below which Pokemon you're most hyped to use. And also tune in tomorrow for our future Paradoxmon showcase. But with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here. If you all like what you saw and you saw what you like, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.